Systems of Equations, Part 9. In today's lesson, students will learn how to find a solution to a system of equations by using elimination and substitution. By using what? Very good. This week, we'll be focusing on finding the solution of a system of equations. Remember, a system of equations is two equations. What is it? Two. So let's go ahead and write down the steps for finding the solution to a system of equations. This time, we'll be using algebra instead of graphing. So let's write, when given A, you're going to write system of what? Of equations when given a system of equations, to find the point of, what do we call it when two lines, what is this called? Intersect, right? So the point is called intersection, okay? If we want to find where do two lines intersect, let's write intersect. Intersect. To find the point of intersection, that would be x, y, right? Where do they intersect? That's their intersection, right? X comma y, remember we found that last week. Well, first, I'm going to teach you two things. The first thing is elimination. It's what? Elimination. What does elimination sound like? Elimination sounds like eliminate to, what does that mean? To get rid of, right? To cancel out. So first we're going to use elimination. And I've set these equations up so that we eliminate which variable? We're going to eliminate y. So first we're going to eliminate y. The equations will be set up so that the strategy that you're using is once you eliminate y, you're going to be adding the equations together. So we eliminate by adding equations. Again, the only way you can eliminate is when your y's or one of the variables are opposite. So if, for example, if you have a negative y and a positive y and a positive y make 0, all right? So if that's the case and we eliminate y when we don't want y, we want to solve for x, all right? So first we'll be solving for x. And then once you find x, remember what you can do when you know that x equals a value, say x equals 3. You can use substitution. You can use what? Say substitution. Putting a number in the place of a letter, all right? So then we're going to substitute for x into one of the equations. It would work for both, but you only have to substitute in for one. And if we're solving for, if we're substituting x, then we're solving for, what do you think? If you don't want x, you want y. Exactly. All right. Now, the final step, of course, is to put x and y together because that would be the solution to the system. Once you put x and y together, that would be their point of intersection. Go ahead and get that down. So you will be asked to find a solution when you're given two equations. This is called a system of equations. It's called a what? Very good. So we have two equations, and I've set up some steps, and in each box it tells you what to do. So first, let's look at the equations. It says x minus y equals -4 and 3x plus y equals -4. The directions say eliminate y, add equations. Okay, we can eliminate y because we have a negative y and a positive y, right? So a negative y and a positive y are going to make 0 if we add them together. So to show that we're adding equations, we're going to put an addition sign, right? And first we're going to say, well, we're going to eliminate y, so that means we can cross them off because they're opposites. So a negative y and a positive y makes 0, and it goes away. But now we have to add the x's. So we have x plus 3x. Is there an invisible number right here? What is it? It's 1. All right? So when we add these like terms, because they both have x, remember we're going to combine like terms. Remember that? What's 1x plus 3x? What do you think? How many x's? It's 4, right? So we're going to say 4x equals a negative 4 and a negative 4. Now, this is actually saying to add them together, right? Because why? Are they the same signs, negative 4 and negative 4? So we say same signs, add and keep, stop. That means you're going to add negative 4 and negative 4. It's going to make what? Negative 8. Cool. Now we're not done because we're trying to find what x is, but we have that 4x equals negative 8. So these are being multiplied, if you remember. What are we going to have to do to both sides to get x by itself? We're going to have to divide, yes? What are we going to divide by? What is x touching? It's touching 4. So when we divide both sides by 4, then we have to remember Bob. Remember Bob? He says a negative divided by a positive is negative. So x is going to equal negative 2. All right? And again, 4 divided by 4 is 1. So x equals negative 2. I'm going to write negative 2 right here in the ordered pair because now we need to find y. How do we find y? Well, the next box says what? Substitute for x. That means I'm going to take negative 2 and I'm going to put it in the place of the letter, which is x. Now these are parentheses, so you need to write 3 and then parentheses. What are you going to put? What's x again? X is negative 2. I'll make it blue just to help you out. Then we're going to add y. We're trying to find out now what is y, and it equals negative 4. So we have to do multiplication first. What do parentheses tell you to do? They tell you to multiply, right? So what is 3 times negative 2? Remember, a positive times a negative is what? Negative. So this is negative 6. Cool. Negative 6 plus y equals negative 4. All right? I'm going to move this down. Remember, we're trying to find what y is. Great. So remember how we solve equations? First you have to make a, remember this? Make a t, right? We're looking for what y is. You'll notice I already brought it down. What do we have to do to both sides to get y by itself? What is the opposite of negative 6? It's positive 6. So we're going to add 6 to both sides, all right? A negative 6 and a positive 6 makes 0. Now, y is going to equal negative 4 and positive 6. Let me ask you, do these have the same signs or different signs? They're different, right? So you say, different signs subtract. Keep the sign of the higher number, then you'll be exact. Cool. So you have a positive 6 and a negative 4. The higher number is 6, so we subtract them. 6 minus 4, and what's that? It's 2. Is it positive 2? Yeah. So y equals positive 2. So our solution, if we were to graph this system, they would intersect at negative 2, 2. So go ahead and get that down. Let's do another example. We have a system of equations. It says x minus y equals 3 and 5x plus y equals 3. The first thing we're going to do, it says to eliminate y and add equations. We are going to be solving for x, all right? So let's go ahead, put a line to show that we're going to add equations. A negative y and a positive y make 0, right? Now we're going to add 5x plus x. Is there an invisible number somewhere? Yes. It's 1. So what's 1x plus 5x? It's 6x. Equals 3 plus 3. That's pretty easy. What's 3 plus 3? 6. Very good. Now we need to find out what x is, not what 6x is. So what do we have to do to both sides? Remember, we divide by, what's touching x? Divide by 6, right? What's 6 divided by 6? Any number divided by itself is what? It's 1. So here, x is 1. With me? We're going to take that 1, and we're going to take it and substitute for x right in this equation, which is the second equation. Now it has parentheses. That means you're going to multiply. So first let's set up the multiplication. It says 5 times, remember that x is 1, plus y equals 3. Cool. So we have to multiply. What is 5 times 1? 5 times 1 is 5. Good. So 5 plus y equals 3. How do we figure out what y is? What do we have to do? Remember, to solve the equation, to solve for y, we're going to make a t. Remember this? Circle y. What's the opposite of positive 5? It's negative 5. Subtract 5 from both sides. A positive 5 and a negative 5 makes 0. Bring down the y. What does y equal? You have 3 minus 5. Are they the same signs or different signs? They're different signs, right? So you're going to say different signs, subtract, keep the sign of the higher number, then you'll be exact. All right, so we have a positive 3 and a negative 5. Subtract them. That's 2. The bigger number is negative. So it's going to be negative 2. And y equals negative 2. So the solution to this equation, that means where would these two lines intersect? It would be at 1, negative 2. So go ahead and get that down. So let's solve the last system of equations. I'm on number 3. The system that we have is 2x minus 3y equals 3 and x plus 3y equals 12. So first, it tells us to eliminate y and add the equations. We're going to be solving for x, okay? So we're going to add these equations together. What do you notice? We don't have a negative y and a positive y. We have a negative 3y and a positive 3y. Are they still opposites? Positive 3y, negative 3y? Yes. So when you add them together, they eliminate. Now we're going to take 2x plus x, but it's not just x, it's what? 1x. What's 2x plus 1x? It's 3x equals, remember the y's go away. Now you have a positive 3 and a negative 12. Same signs or different signs? Different signs, right? So you can say different signs, subtract, keep the sign of the higher number, then you'll be exact. Or you can just put 3 minus 12 in your calculator. You're going to get what? You're going to get negative 9? Cool. You're trying to get x, remember, but you have that 3x equals 9. What do you have to do to both sides? You have to do what? Divide by 3. Remember Bob, he says a negative divided by a positive is negative. So in your calculator, if you put negative 9 divided by 3, you're going to get what? Negative 3. Remember this? So x would be negative 3. All right, great. So now let's look at the next equation. We're solving here for y, but it says substitute for x. We just found x. Now we need y, right? We're solving for y. We're going to put that x is what? What do we find for x? It's negative 3. I'll write it in blue, just so you can see it's a different color. Negative 3 plus 3y equals negative 12. Okay, great. Now remember this? We need to solve this equation by first making a t. Now we're looking, circle 3y, we're looking for y. What is the opposite of negative 3? It's positive 3. Great. So a negative 3 and a positive 3 makes 0. I want you to bring down 3y, and 3y equals, look at this, a negative 12 and a positive 3, just like was here. Remember what that was? That was negative 9. Great. So again, we're going to divide both sides by 3. Now it looks very much the same, doesn't it? Do you remember what negative 9 divided by 3 is? It's what? Put it in your calculator. Negative 3. So y equals negative 3 here. So the solution to this equation is negative 3, negative 3. Go ahead and get that down.